Hello and welcome, I'm Ankit Tuteja, and this week I bring you a special edition of Tech It Out from Russia, which is one of the leading players in the nuclear energy sector. I'm here at the Atom Expo 2022, which is said to be the largest exhibition and platform for discussing the current state of the nuclear industry. What are the pros and cons of nuclear energy, and how is the global nuclear landscape shaping up? Let's dive straight in. The world is grappling with a climate crisis. We need to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and start shifting to cleaner and greener energy. What role does nuclear energy play in this? Why is it proving to be a critical tool in the fight against climate change? Watch this report.
Nuclear has had a bad image for a long time now. Today, it's easy to draw people into the narrative that nuclear energy is not safe, and we understand why. People still remember the nuclear accidents that shook the world, be it the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 or the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster. Chernobyl involved an intense fire and explosion that demolished the reactor building. Large amounts of radiation were released into the atmosphere. There were no provisions for containment. The Fukushima nuclear disaster involved a series of equipment failures, nuclear meltdowns, and the release of radioactive material. They were serious situations. But with time, nuclear safety culture has become a tenet of the global nuclear power industry. According to the World Nuclear Association, the risk of accidents in nuclear power plants is now low. Various reports suggest that nuclear power has a remarkably safe track record compared to coal, natural gas, and even hydroelectric power. Look at this data and you will understand why nuclear energy is safer than most of the other sources of energy. Multiple studies and nuclear watchdogs have repeatedly said nuclear power is a safe means of generating electricity. Today, nuclear energy provides about 10% of the world's electricity from about 440 power reactors. This produced electricity can be used to power homes, schools, businesses, and hospitals. Just 15 countries make up for more than 91% of global nuclear power production, with the US accounting for nearly 31%. France derives around 70% of its electricity from nuclear energy. In fact, France has the largest number of nuclear reactors in Europe, 56 in total. But that doesn't solve the bigger problem at hand. This year, Russia's war on Ukraine has already triggered a global energy crisis. The world will need a significantly increased energy supply in the future. Electricity demand is increasing about twice as fast as overall energy use. Interestingly, nuclear energy is not just safe and sustainable, it's also cost-effective. It produces more electricity on less land than any other clean air source. As researchers and scientists say, nuclear energy is the answer to the global energy needs amid climate change. Many countries, such as the United States and Russia, are looking at nuclear energy as a way to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. The United States of America is the world's largest producer of nuclear power. Russia is maintaining its grip on the global nuclear energy landscape. Countries are adopting new technologies that have the potential to transform the nuclear energy sector. Small modular reactors, known as SMRs, are seen as the future of nuclear energy. They harness nuclear fission to generate heat, to produce energy. Nuclear fission is the process of breaking large atomic nuclei into smaller atomic nuclei to release a large amount of energy. Many of the benefits of small modular reactors are inherently linked to the nature of their design. They are small and modular. As a result, SMRs can be effective in regions that are not suitable for larger nuclear power plants. They are more affordable to build than large power reactors. India is also eyeing smaller nuclear reactors for a clean energy transition.
India has a great progress in nuclear industry, and this is one of the countries together with China and Russia who is constructing nuclear power on a great scale.
Both public and private institutions are actively participating in efforts to bring SMR technology to fruition within this decade. Nuclear power plants around the world currently use fission to produce energy. But many experts see nuclear fusion as the future of clean power. Fusion is basically the opposite of nuclear fission. Fusion combines two light hydrogen atoms to form one heavier helium atom, releasing a large amount of energy in the process. It's the process that gives the sun its energy. Nuclear fusion has been touted by its supporters as a clean, abundant, and a safe source of energy. It could eventually allow humanity to break its dependence on coal, crude oil, natural gas, and other hydrocarbons that are driving a global climate crisis. Like fission, fusion is carbon-free during operation. Also, it has many other advantages. Fusion poses no risk of a nuclear disaster and produces much less radioactive waste. In fact, US researchers recently announced a historic nuclear fusion breakthrough. For the first time, researchers created a nuclear fusion reaction that produced more energy than they put into it.
So often people ask me, why are you doing this grand challenge of harnessing fusion energy that happens in the sun for use here on Earth? And really, it's because it brings us hope. In a world that we have people fighting over energy resources and we're worried about climate change, fusion brings us this grand challenge that can be life-changing. An example I like to use, if you're going to look at how much fuel that you need from fusion to fuel your entire lifetime, everything from your car, your electronics, to your home, you only need the hydrogen or heavier forms of hydrogen extracted from 2 bathtubs full of water, combined with the lithium in 5 laptop batteries. This is compared to the same energy you'd need from burning 280 tons of coal. And that produces 380 tons of pollution. So just that alone means we should pursue fusion energy.
Nuclear scientists say it will be a major stepping stone, but there's still a long way to go before fusion becomes viable on an industrial scale and starts powering our homes. The global energy sector is at a crucial point. Do the latest innovations in nuclear energy mean that they could become the beacon of hope for a cleaner, sustainable, and more stable world?
Nuclear energy is considered to be the energy of the future, but nuclear waste continues to be a huge environmental concern. What's being done to tackle it? We'll bring you more details in our next story.
When it comes to nuclear energy, there is a common concern. How is the nuclear waste that is generated during the production of nuclear power managed? Let's understand that the amount of waste generated is small. Nuclear fuel is very energy dense, so very little of it is required to produce immense amounts of electricity, especially when compared to other energy sources. As a result, a correspondingly small amount of waste is produced. On average, the waste from a reactor supplying a person's electricity needs for a year would be about the size of a brick. According to the World Nuclear Association, nuclear waste is neither particularly hazardous nor hard to manage relative to other toxic industrial waste. As nuclear industry scientists claim, radioactive waste is managed safely. Experts believe safe methods for the final disposal of high-value radioactive waste have been technically proven. In fact, countries are now planning to isolate radioactive waste from the environment in an underground, highly engineered structure called a geological disposal facility. The international consensus is that geological disposal is the best option.
Nuclear technologies don't just power a cleaner future. They also play a crucial role in healthcare. For instance, nuclear medicine can help diagnose and treat different conditions, including some forms of cancer. What are the other cutting-edge uses of nuclear technologies? Let's find out.
Nuclear energy is released in the form of heat and radiation. And this nuclear radiation is safely used for various purposes. For instance, to save lives or to make food last longer. In other words, nuclear power is used for more than just generating electricity. Look at how nuclear energy powers our lives in more ways than you think. Did you know that 1.3 billion tons of food becomes unfit for human consumption every year? In other words, 1/3 of all the food that is produced in the world never gets eaten. This is according to a study commissioned by the United Nations Food Agency. And why does this happen? Largely due to negative effects of insect pests. The solution to the problem is ionizing radiation, also called nuclear radiation. Food irradiation is a food safety process that uses radiation to kill germs that can cause food poisoning or foodborne illnesses. It is said to destroy up to 99% of pathogenic bacteria and viruses, thereby preventing the possibility of infection through food. This treatment increases the shelf life of products up to 10 times. It can be used on any type of food, fresh or frozen. The technology allows users to preserve the unique tastes and flavors of food items. Interestingly, the products are ready for use immediately after the treatment. We visited one such food irradiation facility in Russia. It's managed by Ankit, the leading provider of services in industrial sterilization, and Rosatom Healthcare, which is the non-energy arm of Russia's state atomic energy corporation, Rosatom. The multifunctional irradiation center has the ability to process finished products even when the packaging remains sealed. At the irradiation facility, foods ride on a conveyor belt through an irradiation chamber. In the chamber, foods pass under a beam of radiation that kills germs. When food is irradiated, harmful organisms are destroyed and the nutritional properties of the food remain unaltered. Accenture's facility in the Russian town of Dubna is involved in sterilizing agriculture produce, pharma and polymer products. Food irradiation has been approved in more than 60 countries. In India, there are around 20 facilities for irradiating food. The Baba Atomic Research Center is promoting food irradiation as a viable technology for containing wastage and to ensure food for all. Note that irradiated food is safe to consume. Various agencies and organizations such as Food and Agriculture Organization, International Atomic Energy Agency, and World Health Organization have endorsed its safety and effectiveness. The medical industry is another big beneficiary of nuclear technology. Radiation is also used in hospitals and clinics for many medical procedures. The branch of medical science that uses nuclear energy is called nuclear medicine. It is used for diagnosis, let's say to see how organs or tissues inside the patient's body function. Doctors in hospitals use nuclear materials for treatments as well. For instance, high-energy radiation is used to kill cancer cells and shrink tumors. Right after your procedure, your body is very slightly radioactive, but this wears off with time and is not directly harmful to others. Many lives have been saved with the help of radiation treatments. Every year, nuclear medicine helps doctors diagnose and treat tens of millions of people. According to the World Nuclear Association, over 40 million nuclear medicine procedures are performed each year. Advancements in technology have made radiation therapy machines even more effective. Radiation is also a safe and cost-effective method for sterilizing single-use medical devices, such as syringes and surgical gloves. One of its key advantages is that it allows already packaged products to be sterilized. Hundreds of gamma irradiation plants around the world are operating to sterilize medical devices. Clean water is something we take for granted, but billions of people around the world still live without it. UNICEF estimates that a third of the world's population does not have access to safe drinking water. The number is expected to grow. Researchers and experts believe desalination can help us tackle the water crisis. Desalination is the process of removing salt from salt water to make the water drinkable. However, this process requires a lot of energy. Therefore, these plants are considered among the most expensive ways of creating drinking water. It's believed that the nuclear technology can play an important role in overcoming this challenge. Nuclear energy facilities can provide the large amount of energy that desalination plants need to generate fresh drinking water. Interestingly, engineers around the world are developing mobile floating nuclear desalination plants to help solve water shortages. Nuclear technology can prove to be a solution to a lot of problems, but unfortunately, it's often demonized, and therefore public perception of anything nuclear is largely negative. We need to understand the benefits that nuclear energy can offer.
Speaking of new technologies, many female scientists and leaders have made major breakthroughs over the years. But when it comes to the nuclear sector, women are underrepresented. But big changes are already underway. Here is more.
She is Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer. Meet Hedy Lamarr, who is better known as the inventor of Wi-Fi. Radia Perlman, who is often referred to as the mother of the internet. She invented a system that was instrumental in making today's internet possible. There are many such women who have made significant contributions in the field of technology. They have invented many important technologies that we rely on today. But sadly, women are still underrepresented in tech. Look at the statistics. Women hold 26.7% of technology jobs. The percentage of women in all tech-related careers has actually decreased over the last 2 years. Despite equal access, the percentage of women pursuing STEM subjects in higher education is on the decline, and women achieve just 18% of new computer science degrees. Sadly, this gender gap exists in the nuclear energy sector as well. This is when we have had female scientists like Marie Curie, who revolutionized the field of radioactivity and opened the nuclear age. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, women comprise less than a quarter of professionals working in the nuclear sector globally. In other words, women are still widely outnumbered in the nuclear sector, making up only 25% of the nuclear workforce. To understand why we have a few women scientists and academicians in the field of nuclear science and technology, we talked to some women professionals who are associated with the nuclear sector.
We really need to encourage and mentor girls at the early stage when they are in their high school to ensure that they are going to the right direction, and somewhere the stereotype of the girls can't do this particular work has to be stopped.
The STEM sector as a whole has an issue of, women not being, active participants. I was speaking to two Brazilian ladies who were telling me that in their class, They were only 5 as women out of a class of 40 people. And that's really worrying. More women in STEM can come out and be role models and stop hiding wherever they are hiding. We would be able to achieve the issue of gender inequality.
This will have considerable implications for the future of the industry, which needs a robust and diverse workforce to drive performance and innovation. An inclusive workforce is not only about fairness, it brings new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of solving problems. After all, studies have reportedly said that diverse teams are better able to understand problems and find solutions. They generate better outcomes than homogeneous groups. Therefore, it's important to attract more women to careers in the nuclear field. Here are a few things that can be done to promote female leaders and gender balance in the nuclear energy sector. Schools should increase girls' exposure to nuclear-related subjects from a young age. Policymakers should take initiatives to encourage young women to move into STEM careers. Nuclear companies should not just raise awareness about women's contributions in the nuclear field, they should also help women connect with each other, including mentors. This can help advance their careers. Let's remember, science is not for one gender or another, it's for everyone.
Well, that's all we have for you in this special edition of Tech It Out. We will continue to bring you exciting inventions and updates on the latest technologies. I will be back soon. Until then, keep watching WION World is One. And yes, don't forget to follow us on social media. For now, it's me, Ankit Tuteja, signing off.